kind of just set up this kind of barrier that white cannot pass through yet.
And there must be some huge drama going on between Wesley So and Anish Giri. The bar swinging from side to side. It's been over to Giri's side the whole time. Now, the bar says winning for Wesley So suddenly.
Wow, I just looked over there. It's a crazy game. Wesley So, I think he's tricked Anish Giri. Anish spotted that he was winning, but he went for the wrong plan at the wrong time. I think just a one-move blunder from Giri, just too hasty to finish off So, and So striking back. So maybe we'll see that match balance itself out.
Wow. All right. Drama for Anish Giri, but it's still looking very good for Magnus Carlson to win this game and the match. Do you think he is now basically playing for the win in this game, not only the draw and,
Yeah,
for sure.
For sure. Absolutely, Just take a look at Hikaru's pieces. Totally paralyzed. There's no active plan whatsoever. So Magnus is just simply relocating the rook. And white has several plans, like you say, step the king back, start pushing some pawns there on the right to create an avenue of attack. Another one is just simply to keep maximizing the pieces, keep improving the king, move it as far up the board as possible, and then just wait.
Mm-hmm. And maybe that will be Magnus' strategy. Black is tied down. Here we see Nakamura just moving his rook back and forth, waiting for Magnus to show his hand. But for Carlsen, if he does start to create some threats, he's going to hope that Nakamura gets lower and lower and lower on the clock, and then he might pounce. And then he might try to really, really up the stakes. So, OK, Magnus here, I'm expecting to see him maybe just retreat the white king, maybe give a check with the white rook from the front. He tried to get in from the left side of the board, but black blocked that off. Now he needs a different line for the white rook. I could even foresee white's king stepping back and then the white rook coming the whole way across, trying to sit where the white king is sitting right now, and trying to target some weak black pawns. The black pawns on the right side, they are the weakest right now. Yeah. They are the real targets.
Yes.
Yeah. Anish Giri fighting hard to strike back against Wesley, so this match could be about to be tied if Anish loses this, but Magnus Carlson could be about to win the match.
Yeah, and Magnus chooses to relocate the king, just to improve it by slowly moving it up the board. And whilst Hikaru is thinking about his next move, well, I just wanted to share with you a few answers to our quiz of the day, where we're asking, what is your favorite thing to collect? And now Hikaru actually develops his knight. So big moment here. To capture the knight or not?
Yeah, I think this was the only opportunity that Nakamura had to bring his knight into the action. White goes back, so the knight steps forward. Very logical. And now if the white bishop captures that black knight, as it does, the black king has to recapture. The black pawn, if it had recaptured, would have weakened the 7th rank. White's rook would have delivered some deadly checks.
And here we have a check.
OK.
This allows the black king to step forward.
OK. Does it want to, though? Does it want to allow the white rook into that 7th rank?
No.
The answer is no.
It's no. And king steps backward.
OK, Nakamura, he's defending this game really nicely, just like he did in the last one. He's clinging on, surviving. And white's king trying to reactivate itself. It took a step back because it had to at some point, but now it's heading back towards more active squares. And now, OK, Nakamura, he's trying to use the black rook now. This is the best the black rook's ever been.
But this is the second plan in action. The white king is now finally within touching distance of those pawns on the right.
So Nakamura...
He's forced to go active with his rook.
He has to try and get that black rook somewhere.
Exactly. To the second row.
To the second row, yep. That will cause Magnus to push a pawn forward, I guess. Magnus, he's trying to play on the right. That's where he has the 4 versus 3 advantage. And look how black's 2 versus 1 advantage on the left side. That is completely blocked up by white's remaining pawn. And if the black rook attacks that pawn, white's rook will simply defend it. So right now, Magnus still keeping everything under control, but Nakamura trying to make his life as difficult as possible.
And it's definitely a dramatic round of games here. Mamedyarov has made a comeback against Vladislav Artemiev in Game 3. So they are now tied. If we have a winner in Game 4, then that will be the winner. If it's a draw, then they will head to tie breaks.
Oh, wow. What a finish, actually, in that game. We saw a massive, massive blunder from Artemiev, but Mamedyarov found a way to sacrifice his queen and deliver checkmate. Artemiev just forgot that white could give up the queen, and Okay.
Wow.
Maybe if there's time later, we'll hopefully just show the final 2 moves of that one.
Oh, definitely.
Really, really beautiful finish. Okay, so Mamedyarov, we love his games, right? Always entertaining, always up and down, but
yes.
never disappointing.
No. And what I liked about Mamedyarov is that he said in an interview, he said his goal was not to win the tournament or anything like that, just play very nice chess.
Yeah, and that's exactly what he's giving us.
Okay, so Black's rook, as predicted, has tried to activate. It's now on the 2nd rank, eyeing up one of White's pawns. So normally the 2nd rank, that's where the rook wants to be, but White has kind of evacuated that rank mostly so far, and I expect to see him do the same again.
Okay, so where would you step up with the pawn, or would you perhaps defend the pawn with a rook?
Ooh, that would be very, very ambitious.
Yeah, it would be a little bit too ambitious. I was thinking step up 2 squares.
Yep, this makes some sense. This is the side White's stronger, after all, and now Nakamura, he's trying to pin down the White king. He's trying to stop the White king from advancing, because now if the White king moves, Black's rook on this 3rd rank will capture a pawn.
Can't you... OK, so the idea... Oh, I see Hikaru's idea. So his idea is, say, you play a move like pawn, the rook swings open to an open line. He just wants to actually give up a pawn and give a check to the king.
Yeah, this is very deep idea, Ivanka. I guess we'll have to show this.
Yes.
So right now, as you mentioned, if White captures a pawn and tries to find an open line with his rook, trying to get into the position, then suddenly Black will give a check and distract the White king away from this pawn. It's all about this pawn right now. And if Black manages to take it, maybe some chances to save the game. Still difficult, actually, if White gives a check or maybe even just goes after Black's pawn, but some small chances to save the game. I do think right now, Magnus, rather than taking this pawn, he can, for example, give a nasty check to the Black king, force the Black king to decide. And what else could he do?
Or defend defend the pawn and just say, hey, I release the king from its defensive duties. You are now free to attack.
OK, he defends this pawn, so Black's king coming across, and now White's king. Look how active it is, going after these Black pawns. Black is defending, but all White needs to do at some point is to just take off a pawn, or even, if he wants, maybe start pushing his own pawns forward. Maybe a combination of these. Maybe you take first, and then at some point you push this pawn forward, or you activate your own rook. And, OK, wow, look at this king's journey. Magnus's king is so deep inside Black's camp that...
Wow.
Actually, this is really nice. He's actually going to lock his own king in. For example, if the Black rook steps across, he could even just push his pawn. But maybe Magnus's idea is to go for this Black pawn and hit the Black king from the side. He's winning this game, I think, Magnus. King activity again for the 2nd rook endgame in today's match. It's just endgame strategy 101, but he is the king at endgames.
Yeah, and Hikaru Nakamura is actually smiling a little bit there. He knows maybe this could be over, and it could also be over for Jan-Krzysztof Duda. The bar all the way over to Maxim Vachier-Lagrav's side, and with a loss here, it's going to be over for Duda. He's going to lose the match. Maxim will be the winner, and Magnus will be the winner in this match if he wins this game, and it's looking good.
It's looking good, and just as David called it, that pawn is coming forward to just basically take control and overwhelm Black's defensive resources. And I have to say, this has just been genius stuff from Magnus here. I mean, wonderful, wonderful things. I almost feel like going, I'm not worthy here, you know, because it's so good.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes there's a debate over the best endgame player in history, but I think we're seeing him right now. Magnus Carlsen. No one else can dominate a world-class player like Hikaru Nakamura like this. I mean, he's made it seem effortless, just this endgame, slowly improving his king, slowly improving his rook, having that bishop for knight advantage, pushing pawns in the right manner. It's all just so seamless. And the reason he's locked in that White king, he's locked that position down, is because next he's just going to give up his pawns, but he's going to activate the White rook. He's going to kick the Black king away, and once the Black king moves, all of the Black pawns are dropping. Yeah. It's very straightforward now. Black has no more resistance, I think. No saving plans.
OK, so Hikaru moves his knight to he wishes. It was a rook to an open line.
White's rook now is going to start targeting some Black pawns.
Yeah.
Exactly. And, of course, Wesley So has made the comeback, by the way, against Anish Giri, winning game 3 here. They are now tied, Wesley So and Anish Giri. So they will go to a game 4 and possibly tie breaks.
There we go. Magnus attacks a pawn, brings his rook to an open line. Black's rook is forced to step back. Now, both of Black's rook and king are just totally passive, almost powerless to move.
Yeah. So all Magnus needs to do is maximize his rook and start pushing those pawns. Okay, he's done that. There you go.
Yeah, so black is forced to wait with his rook. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing more difficult in chess than a position where you just have to move back and forth and wait for the axe to fall.
Here comes the breakthrough. Just watch how black's pawn structure just falls apart.
Yeah. He's just opening a path for the white rook. Also, look at white's g-pawn, the one he used to lock down the position on that right side. That white g-pawn is the one that will become a new queen. So white's happy to give up a pawn temporarily just to activate his rook even further and fully break down black's fortress.
Yeah. It's almost resign time, I think, for Hikaru.
Yeah, I think he'll just take this pawn because there's simply no other option. He'll take this pawn and he'll hope. But yeah, Magnus looking very, very confident.
I'm just speechless, actually, at how Magnus has conducted this endgame. I mean, it's just been instructive on so many levels. You know, just this difference between a bishop and a knight. Okay, and now you see the 6th rank has been opened. Rook comes to give check, and
White's rook.
White's rook takes the pawn, and now the king is going to take, potentially, if it wants. You can also block that check with a pawn. Anything goes.
Yeah, so white has, I mean, 2 very strong moves. One as well, with blocking with the rook, probably sufficient, but I expect him to just push that pawn forward, block this check. The white king can take a pawn any time it wants on the next turn anyway. And I was going to say as well, Nakamura, I would put him in terms of endgames, maybe in the top 5 in the world, but I mean, just nothing to do against Magnus when he's in this form.
Okay, so Magnus capturing a pawn.
Black's last remaining hope is to create a pass pawn of his own, but Black's lone pawn on the left side is controlled by White's rook. And now Magnus has it all worked out. He pushes his pawn forward, not scared of a potential rook trade. If Black's rook challenges the white rook right now, that king and pawn endgame is completely winning. So White is simply going to move his king out the way, then he's going to combine the 2 white pawns together. He's going to push them up just together.
Yeah.
And
together forever.
I keep saying that word together, but the white pawns, they are a pair.
Yeah, but I mean, this is what we've kind of been drumming in endgames. You know, you have to work as a team in the endgame. You know, it's not just one star; it's everybody. And Hikaru moving his rook to the bottom row, and this is once again a very neat point from Magnus. His king steps to the side and allows, as David says, for those 2 pawns to march together.
And it's unfortunately over for young Krzysztof Duda, losing 2 games today against Maxim Vachier-Lagrave. That match is over. 3 points for Maxim Vachier-Lagrave, who's having a very good tournament now so far. And a loss then. 0 points for Duda. Magnus also about to gain all 3 points, I guess. The bar says 100.
Yeah, it's definitely 100 here. White's pawns are just marching forward. Actually, we might even see a checkmate on the board. Black's king is completely helpless. It's left on its own, and 2 pawns, a king and a rook can easily checkmate that black king. Black's pawn, meanwhile, takes an age to start motoring down the board, to start running. So, yeah, no counterplay here for Nakamura. He knows he's lost. With 1 minute on the clock, maybe he'll just try and figure out a way to make it less easy for Magnus. I don't see any hope, though, for Nakamura. Yeah, Magnus, in great form. I like the fact that Nakamura's playing on. It's always good to at least force your opponent to work, at least force them to show that they know how to win. But at the end, Magnus's pawns will trap that black king.
Yes. Really, not so much to do.
Just push the black pawn. Just show us why it's going to end in checkmate. I think that's the only solution here.
The only danger there is in this position is that that White maybe traps the king and there's some stalemating issues, but I mean, even that is going to be a tall ask because there's a pawn and a rook on the board.
Yeah, and 10 seconds now for Nakamura. Will he click that resign button or will he play on and show us the checkmate?
Okay, he's playing on. Good. No, he's not.
Okay, he makes a move, it seems, but he resigns at the same time. Magnus takes the win after another really nice endgame.
Wow, it's a dominant match victory for Magnus Carlson, winning 2 games against Hikaru Nakamura to decide it after only 3